Opus Clip is an amazing AI tool for video creators to take long-form video and cut it down into social short-form clips with ease. All you have to do is plug your video into their website and wait a few minutes, and then it'll choose the most viral moments for you to then use for your social media channels. I've been seeing a lot of big names like YouTube creators, podcasters, becoming ambassadors for Opus Clip, sharing that they use it for their show, which is awesome. And we use it for our podcast at Endless Customers. So I've heard a lot of great things about it and seen a lot of demos showing the capabilities that it has. But what I haven't seen is a lot of videos talking about the limitations that Opus Clip has and some problems you might encounter when trying to use it. We're gonna talk about those limitations today and some things you can do to get around them. So the first major issue I've kind of experienced is it'll give you a clip, but there's really not enough context. Maybe it starts in a weird place or just ends before really hitting the oomph part of the clip. But here's some ways you can get around that. This is from our Endless Customers podcast, and it gave it a pretty high virality score here. Good with hook, flow, engagement, and trend. When you look down here at the transcript, he starts off by saying, when sales sees marketing doing that, and marketing is now blah, blah, blah. But what is he even talking about? That. What is that? So here we're gonna go in and we're gonna edit the clip to get around this. So we have our transcript over here. When sales sees marketing doing that, what does that mean? But what we can do to get around this is we come up here and it says, add a section. Now it's gonna pull up the whole transcript. It says click or drag to select a section that we can add. So here's where it starts out, when sales sees marketing doing that. So let's scroll up to see what he's talking about. Middle of a sentence, but he's saying record your calls. He's talking about sales. Record your calls, make marketing listen to them. So that's the that we're talking about. And he says some stuff in between too, but you don't have to do this whole thing. You can just select and drag over this section right here. Record your calls, make marketing listen to them. When sales sees marketing doing that, boom, that now is a clip that makes sense. You can add that in, it takes a few minutes, and it'll just add this clip down here. And now it's gonna make a lot more sense to the clip as a whole, rather than just saying when sales sees marketing doing that. So it's at 100% now. It takes about, boom, 30 seconds or so. Record your calls, make marketing listen to them, and when sales sees marketing doing that, marketing is now proactively creating things that will help. Boom, there we go, that makes sense. Another thing I've noticed is while its cuts can be pretty good on facial detection, they can still be a little bit clunky, a little bit late. It just doesn't look quite professional. The only way I've seen to get around that is really to bring it into a video editing software and to manually kind of fix those clunky edits yourself. I'll show you what I mean by clunky edits. Let's play this clip.
All the other AI tools, OpenAI, generative AI, there's so much going on and it's hard to keep up with. Do you have any suggestions or a way to keep up?
The number one thing that I have actually used to keep up with this has been Google alerts. And so I use Google algorithm as one of those key phrases. I've set up, like Paul Roetzer's one of those people that I get his newsletters. I get newsletters from SEOjournal.com.
Yeah.
So I get that information curated and brought to me.
See, it's just really quick. She kind of moves her head around and it just kind of cuts back and forth with her trying to track her face, but it just looks a little clunky, feels a little clunky, not super professional. The only way I've really found that you can do that is to bring it into Premiere and then cut the clunkier parts on your own. And that's kind of the only way I've found around that. They do have a way you can edit things in Opus Clip, but I haven't had a lot of luck with that. Like you can come down to the timeline here and kind of move these like clips around, but then it could cut off some words. Let me show what that looks like real quick. Like you can lengthen these, shorten these, even if it's just by a couple frames, but then sometimes it'll cut off words or that kind of thing. So you can do it in here, it's just really tough. So if you have someone who knows how to use video editing software, it's easier to take it in there and fix it there. Which this really brings me to my next point. If you want to bring it into Premiere, they have this cool little feature down here where you can export as an XML. And it tells you here, it's pretty straightforward. Caption will be exported as overlays. You can't edit the words in the captions. So you want to go into this editor, make sure your captions are all good, and then export as an XML. And that's actually what I did here. And it brings in this whole thing. You can kind of move the clips around. These up here are the captions that you can move them up and down on the screen. You just can't edit the words. But here's the problem that I've had importing the XMLs is that it hasn't always worked. And maybe I'm not on the most updated version of Premiere or something like that, but I'll get to a point and bring it in and play it. And here's what I had on the first go round that I brought it in.
Way to keep up?
The number one thing that I have actually used to keep up with this has been Google Alerts. And so I use Google.
It just randomly left a video clip out. It had the audio, but the video was nowhere to be found. So what I did was I just took the Opus straight download, which you can take here, and then also put it into Premiere and just took this section of it. And let's see, there it is. I just put that in for that section, which kind of defeats the purpose, but then you can still mess with all the other stuff that's needed and have that section you need. So a little bit annoying that the XMLs don't work perfectly, but like I said, I may not be on the right version of Premiere. Something may have happened there. That's not a huge bug that I'm sure will last a long time. So Opus Clip's big thing is converting your long form videos into short form videos. Well, a lot of times your long form is obviously going to be in the horizontal style. But when you use graphics on your already created horizontal videos, that's not going to translate into vertical style. And so if you're trying to just cut something up that's already been created and it has those graphics, when you put it into Opus Clip, it's going to cut those off and it's not going to look good. So you either have to not use videos with graphics or take it later into a video editing software and then add different graphics that fit into that vertical format. So here's one we had of a keynote speech at Impact Live. We thought we'd throw it into Opus Clip, see what we could pull out. But he had a slideshow going, and in the original edit, we just put the slides in to fill the screen whenever he put a new slide up in real life. And so what this does is, well, you'll see right here. Here we go.
53% of people leaving your website.
So as you can see, when this is a vertical video, it's gonna fill that whole screen, but when it cuts it into this vertical format, obviously it can't jam it all in there. So that's not really a usable clip if you just only wanna use Opus Clip. The way around that is to, like I said, download this or as an XML or just a file, put it into a video editing software, and then put in a new graphic that fits this vertical format. Opus Clip also struggles a little bit with selecting B-roll in its AI B-roll feature. It's actually a super cool feature that I think is gonna turn around in the next few months as AI just keeps getting better. But for right now, it kind of keys in on one word from the transcript and just zeroes in on that one word and picks clips related to that one word, when really it may not make sense in the full context of the clip or even the sentence it's being used in. So here's what hasn't always worked for me. We'll come down here and click on Generate Stock B-roll and see what it comes up with. Okay, so it pulled up stock B-roll. Let's see if it works from whatever's in this transcript. So 53%.
53% of people leaving your website, if you're experiencing.
It's a little clunky, but okay, it's talking about website, so it pulls up hands typing. This other section, I don't even know what that is. But let's play it and see.
It's like going to your local store, seeing a line outside the door, and you're like, I'm looking.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about. So he says, this is like going to your local store, seeing a line outside the door. I'm pretty sure it just took the word line and was like, all right, let's pull up something with lines. And it pulled up a design rather than the actual context he's talking about of a line of people. This one over here is like a party scene, so I'm not, I'm not really sure where that's pulling from, but let's see what he says.
3 seconds and we lose 53% of our users.
Okay, so he's talking about something with your website, you do something, you lose 53% of your users, and it shows people partying. So it doesn't really know the context, it just takes words from the transcripts and kind of comes up with a guess. I think, oh, okay, it came up with user drop-off. Interesting. Let's see what this other one that we talked about, lines, came up with. Store line. Okay. And this other one was web traffic. So sometimes it's right, sometimes it is not right at all. User drop-off, people are partying, weird. I think you might be able to choose new ones. Yeah, you can come in here and actually like check out other clips and see if there's one that kind of fits better, but some of them just don't really make sense. And then it'll automatically plug it in for you.
53% of our users. That's a lot.
So I've struggled with that a little bit. What you can do is go to, oh yeah, see it says it pulls from Pexels. You can go to pexels.com and do other searches and find something that works better. Or you can even type in new words. Losing 53% of our users. Sad.
We lose 50.
But then, okay, it's not formatted correctly. So I would suggest going to Pexels. You can find vertically formatted video there and do this search there, and it's just gonna work better for you. Here's what you can do. Pexels.com, you can go to videos and say sad at computer. You can pull up something that makes a little bit more sense, like this. Oh man, they're sad at their computer. They're probably actually talking about bills or something, but you can say, ah, man, we lost 53% of our users. That works better, download this. So it's gonna be easier if you have the editing software and just put it in that way. So there you have it, a few of the major problems I've experienced when using Opus Clip. While some of these problems can be big and a big issue for you, some of them aren't that big of a deal depending on what your goal is for your social clip and may not even be noticed by the general audience. Let us know if you've run into any of these problems and maybe some workarounds you have, or if you've seen some other issues or exciting things you've noticed with Opus Clip. And we'll see you in the next video.